4.5 Monitor and Control Project Work. Monitor and Control Project Work is a process of tracking, reviewing and reporting the overall progress to meet the performance objectives defined in the Project Management Plan. The key benefits of this process are that it allows stakeholders to understand the current state of the project, to recognise the actions taken to address the performance issues, and to have visibility over the future project status with cost and schedule forecasts. This process is performed throughout the project, and that's from the PMBOK Guide, page 105. If you think about the word monitoring, you may be thinking of just watching the processes, but in the monitor and control project work process, think of a team of scientists continually collecting data, measuring, checking, assessing the data, watching for trends, and that's closer to the monitoring in the sense of this process. Monitoring provides a team with a constant health check of the project, and if they spot any problems, then they can monitor them even more closely. The control part of the process includes determining and recommending corrective or preventative actions through action plans to correct the performance issues. The monitor and control project work process is concerned with comparing actual project performance against the project management plan. The project management plan contains baselines against which performance can be measured. Assessing performance periodically to determine whether any corrective or preventative actions are indicated, and then recommending those actions as necessary. Some processes are quite routine and need just a regular reassurance check, and as you might glance at the fuel gauge or engine thermometer when you're driving, other areas, especially where there are higher risks, might take more frequent and careful checks. Checking the status of an individual project risks. This is especially important where risks have a rating of high or more. Maintaining an accurate, timely information base concerning the project's products and their associated documentation throughout the project completion. Providing information to support status reporting, project measurement and forecasting. Measurements provide the raw data. This data can then be formatted into reports to provide information, and using that information creates knowledge. Providing forecasts to update current cost and current schedule information. Monitoring information of approved changes as they occur, just to make sure that the change archives what it's intended to. A change in one area also has an impact on other areas. This is checked during integrated change control. Checking that a change in one area doesn't upset another area is called regression testing. Providing appropriate reports on project progress and status to program management when the project is part of an overall program. This can be very important when there are dependencies on the projects, and a drop in performance in one project might have a ripple through effect on the others. For example, one project may not be able to start until your project has reached a certain stage. Ensuring that the project stays aligned with business needs. This is a constant danger that the project manager and team might get so involved in the tools and techniques and basically the fun of project management that they might forget the actual purpose of the project. There is an old saying, when you're up to your neck in alligators, it's easy to forget that the purpose was to drain the swamp. It's easy to get sidetracked and deliver something on time and on budget that nobody actually wanted. Monitor and control project work inputs. Number 1 is a project management plan. Monitoring and controlling project work covers the whole project, and so any component of the project management plan may be an input to this process. Number 2, project documents. Project documents that can be considered as inputs to this process include the assumption log to check that constraints and assumptions apply to this project. For example, an expert resource is working on the project on a Mondays, but the work is slipping. You determine that if the resource worked the second day each week, then the performance issue would be solved. But you check the assumption log and find a constraint that the expert resource is available only on the Mondays. Basis of estimates. This indicates how the various estimates were derived and can be used to make a decision on how to respond to variances. There is a hidden use for this as well. If something goes wrong, or I suppose I should say, when something goes wrong and an estimate seems to be at fault, somebody, somewhere will be looking for somebody to blame, and that somebody is usually the project manager. So always carefully record how the estimate was arrived at and who made it, and so that you can blame that person. Cost forecasts. These are based on the project's past performance and are used to determine if the project is within defined tolerance ranges for budget and to identify any necessary change requests. We will be learning all about cost forecasting as part of the earned value technique in project cost management. The issue log is used to document and monitor who is responsible for resolving specific issues by a target date, so you can blame them too if it's late. Lessons learned register to help us find ways to improve what we do and to solve problems. Milestone list. The milestone list shows the scheduled dates for specific milestones, and it's used to check if the planned milestones have been met. This is an extremely high level schedule, and so you can quickly see the events that are on it. Whereas with the full schedule, you get lost in the detail very quickly. Quality reports. The quality report includes quality management issues, recommendations for process, project and product improvements, corrective action recommendations, and a summary of the findings from the quality control process. The risk register. What you're looking for here are the risks, both threats and opportunities that have occurred so far, so that you can assess how successful your treatments were and update the lessons learned to help future projects. If you have a bunch of risks occurring, then you need to go back to the risk management and to check to see if these issues are really symptomatic of a big underlying problem that is about to wreak havoc on your project. Risk report. The risk report provides information on the overall project risks as well as information on specified individual risks. I think this is another typo in the PMBOK guide. I think it should say the overall project risk singular, not the overall project risks plural. Schedule forecasts. These are used to determine if the project is within defined tolerance ranges for the schedule based on the project's performance to date. The schedule forecasts and to identify any necessary change requests. Input number 3, work performance information. As you're monitoring project work, the team will be taking measurements and gathering data. There's a saying, if you can't manage what you can't measure. I think it's like when driving a car in the dark about 100 kilometers per hour and I see a sign, reduce speed. There's got to be a reason why they put a sign there, and it's for my safety and for the safety of others, but what does reduce speed mean? Does it mean reduce from 100 down to 30 kilometers? But if I suddenly slow down by 70 kilometers, somebody will tail-end me. Or if I reduce my speed from 100 kilometers to 99.99 kilometers per hour, am I obeying the sign? Is it slow enough? Numbers are important. As Zig Ziglar said, you need to be a meaningful specific, not a wandering generality. Remember that data is not information. Data is just the raw material. If data was meat and vegetables and herbs and spices, running a report would be like cooking the meal, information would be like the meal on the plate, and knowledge would be eating the meal. So the team collects the data, which is then reported on and compared with the project management plan components, project documents and other project variables, and we can get an objective measure of performance. When measuring, we're primarily looking at scope, schedule, budget and quality, but we don't view them in isolation from each other. For example, if you are 50% of the way through a project and you've used 70% of the budget, is that bad? There's no way to tell unless you also consider the work that you have completed within this time. We will learn more about that in the earned value management and the project cost management process. Number 4 is agreements. Agreements with the customer or with subcontractors often have performance clauses and stipulate when certain outputs have to be delivered, and so these need to be considered too. It's a project manager's responsibility to ensure that agreements are met. Number 5, enterprise environmental factors. The enterprise environmental factors that can influence the project manager control work include project management information systems such as scheduling, cost and resourcing tools, performance indicators, dashboards, databases, project records and financials. Infrastructure, e.g. existing facilities, equipment, organizations' telecommunications channels, stakeholders' expectations and risk thresholds, and government and industry standards. For example, regulatory agency regulations, product standards, quality standards and workmanship standards. Many products are regulated, and so there could be penalties if the standards and regulations are not met. Number 6, organizational process assets. The organizational process assets that can influence the monitor and control project process include organizational project policies, processes and procedures, which is quite a common one as you probably noticed by now. Financial control procedures, for example, required expenditure and disbursement reviews, accounting codes and standard contract provisions. Monitoring and reporting methods. Issue management procedures defining issue controls, issue identification and resolution and action for item tracking. Defect management procedures defining defect controls, defect identification and resolution and action item tracking, and organizational knowledge base, in particular process measurement and the lessons learned repository. Monitor and control project work, tools and techniques. Number 1, our old friend expert judgment. We're looking for individuals or groups with specialized knowledge or training in earned value analysis. As I said before, this is a set of tools for reporting on performance and forecasting future performance based on previous performance. And so, just to confuse you, you will see it referred to as earned value analysis, earned value measurement, or earned value technique, but they're all really talking about the same thing. Interpretation and contextualization of data. How to work out what the data actually means for this particular project. Techniques to estimate duration and costs, trend analysis, technical knowledge of the industry and focus area of the industry, risk management and contract analysis. Number 2, data analysis. Data analysis techniques that can be used include alternatives analysis. Alternatives analysis is used to select the corrective actions or the combinations of corrective and preventative actions to implement when a deviation occurs. It's up to the project manager to select the best value alternative from the ones that you identify. Cost benefit analysis. This is a tool to help the project manager to decide if options are value for money and choosing the best value for money. This appears in the exam from time to time. When it does, you simply select the option that has the best cost-value ratio. For example, if the options are 2 to 4, each $2 spent earns $4, and 2 to 5, each $2 spent earns $5, then the second option is the one you would choose. But a twist that they use sometimes in the examination give the benefit cost ratio instead of the cost benefit, and with exam stress you may not notice the difference. In this case, a benefit cost of 2 to 4 means that for every $4 spent you earn just $2. Earned value analysis, which provides an integrated perspective on scope, schedule and cost performance. Root cause analysis. This focuses on identifying the main underlying cause of a problem, which in this case is a variance in expected performance. Remember that I mentioned before that if a lot of risks are triggering, then they may be symptoms of a bigger underlying problem, and so you need to trace the problem all the way back to the root. In the examination, when you see root cause or cause and effect mentioned, the answer usually has to do with the main technique for finding the root cause, which is the fishbone diagram, also known as the Ishikawa diagram or the cause and effect diagram, and many years ago it used to be called the herringbone diagram as well. Trend analysis. This warns a project manager of expected slippages, so preventative actions can be recommended. Please remember that the project manager is not permitted to take preventative actions unless they've been authorized by the Integrated Change Control System. Variance analysis. Variance analysis reviews the differences or variances between planned and actual performance. These can include duration estimates, cost estimates, resource utilisation, resource rates, technical performance and other metrics. Tool and technique number 3, decision making. Decision making techniques that can be used include voting. This is a common method for allowing a group to make decisions even if there's a level of disagreement within the group. And within voting techniques there are 3 common versions. One is unanimity. This means everyone is unanimous, i.e. the motion is passed only if every person in the group is in agreement. Majority, this means that the option is selected if more than 50% of the members of the group agree. It helps to have a group with an uneven number of members to avoid the situation of a tie where you have a 50-50 split, or you could have a senior member of the group who is appointed to have a casting vote. Plurality. This means that the option is selected if the largest group is in agreement, even if the largest group is less than 50%. An example of plurality is where you have 10 votes and 3 options. 4 vote for option 1, 3 vote for option 2 and 3 for option 3. Then obviously the one you're going to choose is option 1 because you have the largest number of votes. Meetings. This is number 4. Meetings may be face-to-face, virtual, formal or informal, and they may include project team members and other project stakeholders as appropriate. Monitor and control project work outputs. Number 1, work performance reports. Now that you have your data about all of your measurements and you've reported on that data to provide information and then analysed the information to provide knowledge, you can now share that knowledge. Here is a review question. Is this type of knowledge which you're sharing explicit or tacit? If you don't know, please review lesson 4.4, Manage Project Knowledge. Examples of work performance reports include status reports and progress reports. Work performance reports can contain earned value graphs and information, trend lines and forecasts, reserve burn down charts, defect histograms, contract performance information and risk summaries, anything like that. And they can be presented as dashboards, heat reports, stoplight charts and other representations useful for creating awareness and generating decisions and actions. Basically, it is any method which you can communicate easily and quickly with the group. Number 2, change requests. As a result of comparing planned results to actual results, change requests may be issued to expand, adjust or reduce project scope, product scope or quality requirements and schedule or cost baselines. Change requests may necessitate the collection and documentation of new requirements. Changes can impact the project management plan, project documents or project deliverables. Change requests are processed for review in disposition, which means action, through the Perform Integrated Change Control process. Changes may include, please note the following 3 change types are actual PMBOK guide definitions which should be learned for the examination. Corrective action, an intentional activity that realigns the performance of the project work with the project management plan. Preventative action, an intentional activity that ensures the future performance of the project work is aligned with the project management plan. Defect repair, an intentional activity that modifies a non-conforming product or component. And as I said, you need to remember those 3 definitions. Output number 3, project management plan updates. Please note that any change to the project management plan must go through the organisation's change control process via a change request. I don't know of any organisation that actually does this, but it's PMI law for the examination. Number 4, project documentations updates. Project documentations may be updated as a result of carrying out the process, include cost forecasts. Changes in cost forecasts resulting from this process are recorded to the cost management processes. Issue log. New issues raised as a result of this process are recorded in the issue log. This would also include underlying issues discovered through root cause analysis. And when I say root cause analysis, you're already thinking of fishbone diagrams and Ishikawa diagrams. Lessons learned registers updated with effective responses for variances and corrective preventative actions. Risk register. New risks identified during this process are recorded in the risk register and managed through risk management processes. Schedule forecasts. Changes in schedule forecasts resulting from this process are recorded through the schedule management process. That is the end of the monitor and control project work process. The next process is a very important one, 4.6, perform integrated change and control. You've heard it all the way through this course. That's why it's so important. Please read the corresponding chapter in the Pinbook guide before watching the video.